It's time to wrap up my reading from January of 2023. I swear I get it right this time. I kept saying 2022 in my last videos, but it's 2023. So here we go. Here's what I read in January. Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and today's the January wrap up for 2023. And I started the year out really, really strong. Strong in the number of books that I read, not really the strongest in like how much I loved, but I was pretty proud of myself. I read 10 freaking books. 10 books. I feel like I come out of December in like this slump and it's the holiday time and I just don't really read that much in December. And then I hit January running. Like I just read so much in January. I haven't been watching a lot of TV. So that is what makes my reading a lot more. So 10 books, that's pretty crazy for me. Like that's a huge, huge month. But what's funny is there were trends, like there were very clearly trends. At the beginning of the month, one of the things that I wanted to do was switch off every other book that I read because I do mostly fantasy romance and contemporary romance. And so I was like, okay, let's keep it even. Like let's make it even so I can do the reviews back and forth for everybody. I did that. I was consistent. I flipped back and forth fantasy, romance, fantasy, romance. It felt good. I was happy with that. I felt like I had the palate cleanser in between each of the fantasy worlds. Even though sometimes the contemporary romances were like really, they sucked you in. Sometimes it was a little hard getting out of that world too, which doesn't typically happen to me. But it felt good. I was confident. I was happy with this switch back and forth. And I think I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to continue to do that for book club as well. So I have my big spreadsheet, right? And I track all my tropes and I added some like columns of things that I'm going to track this year. And I only read one traditionally published book this month. What? That was crazy to me. Only one traditionally published book. Everything else was indie published for this month. And the majority of books that I read were also on my Kindle. I read mostly ebooks. I think that's just kind of the mood that I've been in. I've been able to do my walking and play with my kid while still, having my Kindle. It was just easy. It made it easy for me. Some of them I'm definitely going to go back and purchase the physical copy though, because like I'm trying to update my shelves a little bit, make them more fitting of what I read. Because right now I feel like they're living a little bit in the past. And I do need to read the things that are on them and either decide to keep them or decide to get rid of them. But I'm living a little in the past on the shelves. If I read an ebook and I really like the book and I want to have a physical copy, I'm going to be updating that. And there are some that I ordered the physical copy after I read the ebook. As always, I will have reviews for every single book that I read. Every single book will have its own review video. And in that video, you'll be able to find a more in-depth summary, my star rating, the spice rating, and all of my thoughts, either spoiler-free or spoiler-filled, depending. I will always warn you in the video. That's not going to be here. This is going to be more of a loosely, what did I think, quick hit, and you will always be able to go watch the review video if it's already posted, or I will tell you that it's coming out, because some of them that I read this month have not come out yet. I have them planned for into February, so I'll let you know. So let's start with books that I didn't really love. Only one fell into that category this month, and that was Exes and O's by Amy Lee. This was the one traditionally published book that I read this month, and it just did not click with me. This is a forced proximity, kind of friends to lovers, almost second chance romance, but not really, type of contemporary romance where a girl moves in with a new roommate. He is a firefighter and she decides that she is going to try to have her second chance romance and date all of her exes again in order to rekindle the flame, but they end up having feelings for each other. The thing that I really didn't like about this book, like the biggest thing, was just the discussion and behavior of the characters around certain aspects of dating. Like it really just didn't sit well with me, and it kind of tainted my view of how the rest of the story went on, especially the romance part. This review is not yet posted. It is coming out, I think next week, but it's coming soon. And this is the second in her influencer series. I really, really liked the first. I gave it 5 stars. Didn't really love this one. So I think I will still give the next one in the series that's coming a chance. I just really hope it doesn't give me the same vibes as this. The next category is books that I liked. And I'm going to start with the book club book for the month of January, which was Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews. This is a Viking romance, Beauty and the Beast retelling with a princess who has to be matched for a marriage and ends up falling in love with the man that is responsible for matching her. But he has a secret. He is cursed. He is not who she thought he was. I liked this book. I go way more in depth about what I thought in my review for book club, which is tomorrow. So if you have read this or you want to know what I think about it, tune in tomorrow because it's coming. The biggest thing I think about this was that I didn't feel that the romance convinced me enough. I wanted to feel the romance a little bit more. I also wanted it to be a little bit more Viking. I don't believe this series is complete yet, but I know book 7 is coming out this year if it hasn't already come out. So there's a lot of them. I will continue because I do think that this is very much of like a setup book and I do want to know what happens, but there's so many, so I don't know when I'm going to finish it. The next one is Forced Bonds by J. Bree, and this is book 4 of the Bonds That Tie series. If you've been following along with my reading of the Bonds That Tie series, because this is book 4, I'm not going to say the synopsis. It's going to give things away, but I do have videos posted already for books 1, 2, and 3 that you can watch. Book 4 kind of dropped my rating a little bit just because I feel like the series is starting to sound too much like the previous books. And I really wanted the drama from the cliffhangers in the last book to continue to be dramatic in this book. Trying to say things without spoiling. But my review for this is coming. It is scheduled, I believe, for the second week of February. So just hang on. My thoughts will happen, I promise. I am going to continue to read the series. It is complete. There are 6 books, but I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break just to kind of try to break up feeling like I just read the same thing over again. The last one is War of Wrath and Ruin by Emily Blackwood. This is book 3 in the Fae of Raywith series. I do have videos for books 1 and 2. You can watch that. I'm not going to give the synopsis of this one because it will spoil things. But this is a YA fantasy romance. It's got a lot of the really, really popular tropes throughout the entire series that are popular in fantasy romance. I still think book 2 is my favorite. I liked this one less than I liked book 2 for one very, very spoiler-filled specific reason that I can't say. I do believe Emily has 2 more books planned for this series, so I will continue to read them. They're fairly short books. They're like 200, 250 pages. So they're quick, easy fantasy world reads that are enjoyable. All right, the last category is books that I really liked, and I'm just going to go in the order that I read them. The first one that I read this year was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I will definitely be reading more of Lucy's books. I bought this physical copy after I read the book. I am anxious for the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series to come out. This is a small town romance, kind of enemies to lovers with a really, really grumpy guy. She shows up in this town trying to help her twin sister, who is a criminal, gets landed with her niece that she didn't know existed, and no money and everything stolen from her. And so now she has to kind of make this life in this new town alongside this very, very grumpy man. I don't know what took me so long to read this book. I really, really, really liked it. I will definitely obviously continue reading her next ones, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to love the next characters more than I loved these ones. The next one is From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata. This is an ice skating romance. It is between 2 ice skaters. They end up being pair skaters. It is an enemies to lovers. They absolutely hate each other, but he needs a new partner. So he approaches her to be his new partner, and she agrees because she wants to win competitions. but they have to make a deal that they have to be nice when they're in practice or on the ice. But outside of that, all bets are off. I love Mariana Zapata's books and her slow burns. They're so great. They're standalones. I always recommend her books that I've read, and this is now the third one that I've read from her. My review for this is already posted, and I do have 2 other reviews for The Wall of Winnipeg and Me and All Roads Lead Here, both of which I highly recommend. I did end up really liking this book, but there was one thing about it that I just was like, I didn't know if I was going to end up liking this one. He was just such an asshole in the beginning. I didn't think I'd be able to get over the ways in which he was an asshole. So I'm glad I got there, and I'm glad it was made clear enough to me that I could get past those things. I was worried at first. I did not think I was going to. The next one is Flawless by Elsie Silver. Flawless is a professional bull riding small town romance, and it just kind of dragged me in. I really liked this book. It's the first of 3. I think the third one is coming out this year, and I've heard really good things about the second one. This one is kind of an enemies to lovers, playboy, jealousy, all those types of tropes, where he is losing sponsors and his agent sends his daughter, who works for his company, to go babysit the professional bull rider, and she has to accompany him on all of his travel and live with him at his house to make sure he doesn't screw up worse. I'm definitely going to continue this series and definitely read more small town romance after this book. The next one is The Curse of Ophelia by Nicole Platania. And I did get this one as an arc. I go in a lot of explanation in my video review for this book, so you can go look at that. I did end up really liking this book. I was worried I wasn't going to, which is why I was nervous about taking the arc, but I did end up really liking it. The writing was amazing. You guys know me, I don't typically go for very fanciful writing. So if you're into that, like, this is your jam. It is a Greek mythology inspired fantasy book. I think it's technically a fantasy romance, but again, I have thoughts on that. My review is spoiler free, so you can go watch it. It's about a girl named Ophelia who is a descendant of this warrior clan, and she is not allowed to go on her journey to become a higher level warrior. There's also a curse that is brought upon her, and she decides, screw it, I'm gonna go do it anyways. And in the same journey, she is going to look for her lost love, who's been gone for over 2 years, Malachi, and try to save him. The biggest thing that I wished was different about this book was I wished that there was a little bit more romance, because we didn't get the buildup of the romance. But I did really like the growth of all the characters and the way you got to really know the characters, and the end with the twists and the turns and the changes, and it was really entertaining. This is book 1 in the series, so I definitely will continue reading it. I do want to find out what happens. I know Nicole's currently editing book 2, so I'm not exactly sure what the pub date on that's going to be. It may not be till next year, but I'm not sure. I also read A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn, and this was a billionaire romance. It was a billionaire fake fiance, fake dating, fake pregnancy romance where Huxley and Lottie kind of run into each other in a not so meet cute and agree to pretend that they're going to be each other's fiancés so that Huxley can get a business deal, and in turn, Lottie gets her student loans paid off and connections for her sister's business. But of course, feelings are going to develop. This was another great Megan Quinn. I have seen this series. There's 3 of them. The third one is coming out, or had just come out. I think it just came out. And it's 3 brothers. And now that I've kind of gotten to know a little bit of all 3 of the brothers from the first book, I definitely will be reading book 2 and 3. It's a great, easy, bingeable, spicy contemporary romance with billionaires. And lastly, I just finished this last night, just finished reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I went into completely blind. I did not know that this was a vampire book. I figured that out on page 1. It's hard to give a synopsis for this, but kind of the tagline that I use to explain it is it's a vampire Hunger Games. It's about a human girl who is raised by a vampire king, and she trains her whole life to enter this competition where she has to complete a bunch of tasks, beating out other vampire warriors, and whoever wins the task gets a wish at the end. And there may be a vampire there who she has to team up with who is very attractive and different than she expected. My review for this is coming. I literally just recorded it right before I recorded this video. And trust me, you want to see this, you want to see this review. You want to hear what I have to say about this book. It's scheduled to be posted Friday, so mark your calendars. I am going to continue with this series. I am. There was a lot that I liked about this book and a lot that I want to talk about with this book. So many people recommended it to me, and the length of it and kind of a little bit of the cover art kind of deterred me. And I don't know why. I should have just listened. I should have read it a long time ago, but I'll be reading book 2 when it comes out this year. So that's it. 10 books in January. It was a lot. It was a lot to kind of just go over right now. And I'm sorry if this video got a little long, but there's a lot of books and I tried to quick hit everything. Like I said before, I have reviews where I go in depth. I try to make sure that I don't spoil the contemporary romances. Obviously, you guys know that I like to read happily ever afters. So most of them are happily ever afters. The fantasy ones, I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that any of the fantasy books are happily ever afters. For the contemporary, definitely. So those reviews tend to be a lot shorter and spoiler free because it's very easy to spoil all the stuff that happens in a contemporary romance book. I really hope that my momentum from January will continue into February. I really like the structure that I've been reading with the Every Other. And along those lines, I don't know if you guys saw in my last vlog, but I did decide to change the way I'm structuring my review videos throughout the week. I try to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Things happen. It's life, right? So thanks for being patient with me. But I try to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I decided that Mondays are going to be reviews for contemporary romances. Fridays are going to be reviews for fantasy romances. And Wednesdays are kind of going to be variable. It may be a review, it may be a vlog, it may be a list video, it may be a short, kind of up in the air. But along those same lines, I decided to make a little bit of a change, okay? Back when I started Fun Size Book Club, I was only posting 2 times a week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so I had scheduled Fun Size Book Club to be on the last Tuesday of the month because that's when I was posting. But now I'm not posting on Tuesdays, but I still have book club on Tuesdays. I think I'm going to change book club to Wednesdays. So on the weeks that it's the last Wednesday of the month, we'll keep it the same, just like that, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But instead of Tuesday, it's going to be Wednesday because then it's not an extra day that week that I have to, get a video out to everybody. So I'm going to switch it to the Wednesday date. I hope that works for everybody. If it doesn't, the video will still be there. So you can still watch it. You can still leave me comments. You can still send me DMs, whatever. It'll be there for you to watch. Because I am also going to keep with the flip-flopping back and forth between fantasy romance and contemporary romance, and I'm going to try to make book club do the same thing. I might switch whatever vlog happens that week. So for example, we read a fantasy romance this month for January. If I post that on Wednesday, it's going to be Tuesday tomorrow. But if I post that on Wednesday, then Friday, my fantasy romance Friday day will be the vlog that was supposed to be that Wednesday because book club is also a review. So I'll just flip-flop whichever side of the week didn't get the video. And that'll be vlog. Hopefully it's not confusing. In my head, it makes sense. It's not going to be anything that you guys need to keep track of. Just, know that there might be some change on the last week. It's mainly for my own planning and schedule and figuring out my calendar and videos that I'm going to put out. So you don't have to worry about it. I just like being transparent So you don't go like, hey, I thought we were going to get a contemporary romance review today. Like, why is there a vlog instead? And it's because, you know, book club's a contemporary romance that month and it's on Wednesday. So we'll just flop that around. Very happy with my reading from this month. Very, very happy. And for everything that I haven't posted the reviews yet, they will be coming in the next couple weeks. They're already all scheduled. Most of them are already recorded. No, all of them. All of them are already recorded. Yay me. Book club is tomorrow, so make sure if you have read Curse of Shadow and Thorns, or Shadows and Thorns, I never get that title right, to tune in for my thoughts and our live chat tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. February book club is going to stay the same, okay? Despite what I just said in this video of shifting, I've already recorded February's. It's already out there. The date's out there. It's going to stay the same, okay? We'll do it the switch to Wednesday as of March. And don't worry, of course, in all of my videos, I will remind everybody of all of this. Hopefully February is going to be just as exciting of a reading month. I can't wait to get some of the new releases that are coming out. It's going to be exciting. Let me know what was your favorite book of the month down below in the comments. Let me know what you think I should read and I will add it to my TBR. Thanks for coming today. Don't forget, you can find me on all the social media at The Fun Size Reader, and I'll see you guys next time.